The chamber of the Galactic Council stretched like a cathedral forged from steel and starlight. Beneath its vaulted dome, 1,000 species gathered in tiers of carved stone seats, their colors and shapes a kaleidoscope of the galaxy's civilizations. Holographic banners shimmered in every direction, displaying the Federation's crest, twin spirals intertwined in perpetual balance. A deep gong resonated, silencing the chamber. High Arbitrator Wheeler T. Charwynen, tall and serpentine, rose from his dais. His scales glimmered a pale violet under the lights, and his 3 eyes swept the assembly with measured disdain. "Effective immediately," Wheeler announced, his voice magnified across the hall. "The Galactic Federation hereby bans Earth's cuisine. No trade, no preparation, no dissemination. It shall be classified as hazardous material." The declaration struck the chamber like a shockwave. Gasps, chitters, and hisses filled the air. Delegates leaned into translators, some clutching their throats at the mere memory of past encounters with human food. From the second tier, Dr. Elias Rourke shot to his feet. The human envoy's jaw tightened as he pushed aside the translator unit. His dark hair was slicked back, his expression sharp, his eyes burning with disbelief. "You can't be serious," Elias said, his voice carrying raw defiance. "Banning an entire culture's food? That's not regulation, it's erasure." Wheeler's eyes narrowed. "Dr. Rourke, sit down. The decision was unanimous among the Safety Council." "Unanimous because you orchestrated it," Elias snapped. He strode down the stairs, his boots echoing on the polished floor. "You've turned exaggerations into evidence and anecdotes into law." The arbitrator lifted a clawed hand. "We have testimony." A hollow panel shimmered to life, replaying recordings. The first was a willowy insected diplomat twitching in agony. "They offered me a liquid called coffee." It buzzed, voice shrill. "Within moments my carapace trembled, my mind raced, and I collapsed from the convulsions. If not for medical intervention, I would be dead." Another clip flickered. A reptilian delegate hissed through trembling jaws. "They call them chili peppers. Fire fruits." My mouth blistered, my throat swelled, The image froze, showing the alien gagging as medics rushed forward. The chamber rippled with uneasy murmurs. Delegates exchanged horrified glances, and some covered their sensory organs in remembered discomfort. Elias stopped at the central podium, his voice cutting through the noise. "Yes, our foods are intense. Spices, fermentation, stimulants, they're not gentle. But that's not poison. That's survival. Every dish we make is a story of how we endured a death world." Wheeler coiled higher on his dais, his presence towering. "Survival, you say? Yet your foods warp nervous systems, ignite hallucinations, and destabilize biology across multiple species. You wield your meals as weapons." Elias leaned forward, hands gripping the podium. "Weapons? No. Culture. Chili peppers grew where disease thrived. They kept our ancestors alive. Garlic was medicine long before it was flavor. Coffee carried workers through endless nights to build civilizations. Every so-called toxin is part of who we are." Wheeler's tone sharpened. "And yet, to others, they are lethal." "They're only lethal to those unprepared," Elias countered. "So is your atmosphere to us, arbitrator. Should we declare your very air illegal because we cannot breathe it?" The chamber stirred. A few alien delegates clicked in approval, but most remained uneasy. Wheeler struck the dais with a metallic rod, regaining silence. "Earth's cuisine destabilizes harmony," Wheeler said coldly. "We cannot risk interstellar trade routes becoming poisoned with human concoctions. The ban stands." Elias straightened, his jaw set. "Then I invoke cultural sovereignty. If you condemn our food, you condemn our identity. You can't legislate away an entire heritage because it makes you uncomfortable." Wheeler's eyes glittered. "You wish to challenge the ruling? Very well. We shall convene a tribunal." His words slithered like ice. "If you can prove that your so-called cuisine is not a weapon, the Council may reconsider. Fail, and Earth's culinary heritage will be erased from Federation archives. Forever." Gasps rippled again. Some species whispered anxiously, others shook their heads at the thought of enduring another taste. Elias exhaled slowly. The weight of his people's pride pressed on his shoulders, yet he felt no hesitation. "Then I'll prove it," he said firmly. "Not with numbers or sterile reports, but with taste. You'll see what our food truly means." Wheeler's lips curled into something between a sneer and a smile. "So be it. But understand this, our patience with Earth is thin. Fail here, and the repercussions will be severe." The gong sounded again, sealing the decree. The council chamber dissolved into overlapping voices, some alarmed, some amused, many skeptical. The trial of Earth's cuisine had been set. As Elias left the podium, a slender avian delegate fluttered beside him. Its plumage shimmered like copper under the lights. "Dr. Rourke," it whispered, "are you certain you can do this? Your dishes, they frighten us." Elias forced a grin, though his pulse hammered. "That's the point. They frighten us too. But we eat them anyway. That's what makes us human." The avian recoiled slightly, unsure whether to admire or fear him. By the time Elias reached the exit, he already knew the battle ahead would not be won with facts alone. He would need to turn every taste into testimony, every bite into evidence of resilience. Humanity's fire was on trial, and he would have to serve it, one dish at a time. Behind him, Wheeler watched with cold satisfaction. To the arbitrator, this was no trial. It was an execution dressed as ceremony. But Elias Rourke intended to rewrite the script. The council chamber transformed overnight. Where once debates were carried out beneath glowing banners, now a long obsidian table stretched before the dais. Silver trays gleamed under sterile lights, each covered with domes to contain the scents. Federation medics waited at the edges of the room, armed with scanners and emergency kits. Dr. Elias Rourke stood at the table, sleeves rolled back, a measured confidence in his stance. Before him lay carefully chosen dishes, a bowl of chili con carne, a platter of garlic bread, a tiny porcelain cup of espresso, and a dab of pale green wasabi. To humans, a simple spread. To the Federation, a minefield. High Arbitrator Wheeler loomed above, his coils wound tight, voice dripping with disdain. "Dr. Rourke, today you present evidence. Know this, if even one of these trials ends in disaster, your case weakens. The Federation does not gamble with survival." Elias inclined his head. "We're not gambling. We're sharing." The first volunteer stepped forward, a feline-like creature from the Lissari Consortium. Its fur shimmered gold, eyes sharp with both curiosity and arrogance. "I will taste your bread," it said, voice purring through the translator. Elias lifted the dome, revealing garlic bread fresh from the heat. The aroma spread instantly, rich butter, roasted garlic, herbs. The Lissari twitched, ears flat. "Bread infused with garlic," Elias explained, slicing a piece. "Garlic was once medicine. It fights disease, strengthens bodies, and became flavor through necessity." He slid the slice forward. The Lissari sniffed, hesitated, then took a bite. Its pupils dilated. The crunch echoed in the chamber. A low rumble left its throat, somewhere between a growl and a purr. "Describe what you feel," Wheeler demanded. The Lissari swallowed slowly. "It burns, but gently. A heat that spreads without pain. Strange warmth in the chest." Its tail swayed. "It is not unpleasant." Elias smiled faintly. "That warmth is life. Humanity turned hardship into taste. We carried our healing into every meal." A ripple of whispers swept the chamber. Wheeler's claws tapped against the dais, displeased. "One success does not redeem your kind." The next volunteer, a squat amphibian from the Uruk Dominion, waddled forward. "I will test a liquid," it croaked, pointing to the espresso. Elias poured a shot, the dark surface shimmering under the lights. "Coffee," he said. "It carried our people through long nights of building, fighting, surviving. It sharpens focus, steels the mind." The amphibian slurped cautiously. Within seconds its eyes bulged. "Heart racing. Mind clear. So much noise. So much light. It flailed, then suddenly froze. I can see the patterns in your speech. Gasps spread across the gallery. Medics rushed, scanning vitals. One raised a hand. Elevated heart rate, but stable. Wheeler's voice cut in, cold as iron. You see? A stimulant designed to twist biology into overdrive. If that is not a weapon, what is? Elias kept calm. If endurance is a crime, then so is breathing oxygen on a world with storms. Coffee isn't poison. It's fuel, and like fuel, it must be respected. The murmurs now carried hints of intrigue. Some delegates leaned forward, fascinated. Others shifted uncomfortably, swayed by Wheeler's framing. Next came the chili. The dome lifted, releasing waves of smoky spice. The scent alone sent several species recoiling. A tall crystalline being volunteered, its body refracting the light in jagged edges. I will endure this, it said, voice like shattering glass. Elias ladled a spoonful into a silver bowl. Chili peppers contain capsaicin, he explained. It tricks the body into thinking it burns, yet causes no harm. On Earth, it was defense for the plant. To us, it became flavor, challenge, and joy. The crystalline delegate scooped the chili into its shifting mouth. A pause. Then its body flickered with violent red light. Temperature spike detected, shouted a medic. The being quivered, shuddering with every flash. It is unbearable, yet exhilarating. A fire that does not consume. A trial of will. The council erupted in mixed reactions, shouts, screeches, hisses. Some accused Earth of sadism, others looked at the crystalline being with awe. Elias raised his voice above the noise. That fire is why we survived death worlds. Our ancestors embraced pain, and from it carved strength. Wheeler slammed the rod on his dais, demanding silence. His eyes blazed. Enough of your romantic words. You cloak toxins in poetry. Elias's jaw clenched. You mistake resilience for recklessness. The final dome lifted, wasabi, bright and unassuming. A small, delicate alien stepped forward, skeletal wings folded against its frail body. The crowd whispered, this species was known for fragility, rarely volunteering for risk. You don't have to, Elias began. I must, the alien said softly. My people are dismissed as weak. Perhaps your danger will show otherwise. Elias hesitated, then offered the tiniest dab. Wasabi, he said. A root once eaten raw with fish. It burns quick, but vanishes. A lightning strike of flavor. The alien touched it to its tongue. Its eyes widened, wings shivering violently. A sharp squeal escaped its throat. For a moment it seemed ready to collapse, but then, slowly, it straightened. Its wings spread wide, trembling yet steady. I feel alive, it whispered. Pain, then clarity. My body screams, yet my spirit soars. The chamber fell silent. The fragility of the creature made the testimony undeniable. Delegates exchanged uncertain looks. Wheeler leaned forward, voice low but cutting. Do not be swayed. Pain masquerading as power is still poison. The galaxy must not adopt chaos disguised as tradition. Elias turned to the council, his voice steady but edged with urgency. Every dish you've seen is more than sustenance. They are stories of endurance, of transforming danger into strength. That is not chaos, it is survival. And survival is the essence of civilization. The frail alien raised its hand, still trembling. Perhaps, the galaxy needs danger. Not to destroy us, but to remind us how to endure. The words echoed, fragile yet powerful. A spark ignited in the assembly. Some delegates nodded thoughtfully, while others shook their heads in alarm. Wheeler's face hardened. He saw control slipping. Tomorrow, he hissed, we deliberate. But know this, human, if your fire spreads beyond your grasp, you will burn not just yourselves, but us all. Elias met his gaze without flinching. Then let the galaxy decide whether it fears the flame, or learns to carry it. The gong rang, sealing the session. The council dispersed in murmurs, divided yet intrigued. Elias remained by the table, staring at the empty dishes. For the first time, he felt the Council's judgment teetering, not against humanity, but on the edge of revelation. And he knew tomorrow would decide whether Earth's fire burned alone, or lit the galaxy. The council chamber brimmed with tension. The obsidian table from the previous day had been cleared, yet the memory of its trials lingered in the air. Delegates shifted restlessly in their seats, whispers circling like eddies around the high dome. For the first time in centuries, the Federation itself felt divided. High Arbitrator Wheeler coiled atop his dais, gaze unyielding. His scales caught the light in sharp violet gleams, every inch of his posture radiating control. "We reconvene," he declared, voice booming. "The tribunal will now deliberate. Humanity's cuisine stands accused of being reckless, destabilizing, and weapon-like. Unless Dr. Rourke proves otherwise, the ban is final." Elias Rourke stood at the center, the weight of his planet's legacy pressing into his spine. He had not slept, shadows rimmed his eyes, but his voice carried steady conviction. "You've seen our food. You've felt its burn, its surge, its sting. Call it danger if you must. But danger is not the enemy, it is the crucible that shapes us." A murmur rippled through the chamber. Wheeler lifted a claw. "Rhetoric again, Doctor? You confuse suffering with strength." "No," Elias said firmly. "I show you that strength is born from suffering. Humanity endured ice ages, plagues, predators. We tamed storms, crossed oceans, walked into voids of space. And through it all, we flavored survival. Every spice, every ferment, every bitter bean is a memory of how we overcame what should have killed us." The avian delegate who had whispered to him days earlier rose, feathers trembling. "When I tasted your bread, I felt warmth. It lingered. It was not death, but life shared. Perhaps there is merit." Others stirred. The crystalline being flickered faint red light. "The fire in your peppers tested me. It hurt, yes, but it revealed resolve I did not know I possessed." But Wheeler's voice cut through like a blade. "Illusions. You glamorize toxins. I will settle this now. Dr. Rourke, if your food is not weaponry, then you yourself will consume what your species claims to master, the deadliest dish in your archives. Before us all. If you survive intact, then perhaps you speak truth. If you falter, humanity stands condemned." Gasps filled the chamber. Some delegates protested, others leaned forward with predatory anticipation. Elias froze, throat dry. He knew the dish Wheeler spoke of, the Bajalokia curry, infamous even on Earth. A plate of living fire. "Do you accept?" Wheeler pressed, his 3 eyes glinting. Elias's jaw clenched. His heart raced, but his voice did not waver. "I accept." A tray was carried in, steam rising like smoke from molten stone. The scent hit first, intense, pungent, layered with chili and spice so strong several aliens recoiled instantly. Elias sat before it, spoon in hand, every eye fixed on him. He dipped once, lifting a spoonful glowing red under the lights. The chamber held its breath. The first bite hit like an inferno. Heat ripped across his tongue, fire crawled down his throat, his body trembled in rebellion. Sweat poured instantly, eyes blurred, heart pounded against his ribs like a drum. Pain consumed him, but he forced himself upright, gripping the table to steady his shaking frame. Wheeler leaned forward, savoring the sight. "And? Will you collapse like the others?" Elias swallowed, fire still raging. His voice cracked but carried steel. "No collapse. No surrender. This," he raised the spoon again, hand trembling yet determined, "is the essence of my people. To take what burns and turn it into joy." He ate a second spoonful. His vision swam, yet he smiled through streaming eyes. The chamber erupted, gasps, shouts, cries. Medics prepared to intervene, but Elias raised a hand to stop them. "Do you see?" he rasped, forcing each word past the storm in his chest. "We eat fire not because it is safe, but because it reminds us we are alive. That every breath, every bite, is victory over a world that never wanted us to survive." That is what it means to be human. Silence followed. Even Wheeler hesitated, unable to dismiss the defiance etched into the human's sweat-soaked face. Then, unexpectedly, the frail winged alien rose, wings quivering yet spread wide. When I tasted your root, I felt weakness become strength. Watching you now, I see truth. Pain is not always destruction, it can be rebirth. The avian delegate clicked agreement. Perhaps we need humanity's fire to remind us that life is not merely safety. One by one, voices joined, hesitant but building. The crystalline being. Let danger teach us. The amphibian, still jittery from espresso. Let challenge sharpen us. Wheeler's coils tightened, rage flashing across his features. This is madness. Chaos disguised as courage. But Elias raised his hand once more, calmer now though his body still trembled. No, arbitrator. This is civilization. We all endure. We all adapt. Humanity simply remembers that survival should be celebrated, not hidden. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices, some fearful, many inspired. The gong sounded 3 times, calling for a vote. One by one, the council's crystals lit, green for preservation, red for banishment. As the tally rose, the hall became electric. Green lights began to outnumber red. Wheeler's own cast its crimson, but his influence could not stem the tide. At last, the count ended. The verdict, Earth's cuisine preserved, permitted under cautionary labels. Humanity's fire would not be erased. Elias exhaled, his knees nearly giving way, but relief steadied him. Across the chamber, delegates whispered of restaurants, of tasting the fire themselves, of embracing not just safety but challenge. Wheeler slumped back in defeat, his scales dulling. His voice hissed, bitter as acid. You have won today, human! But mark this, the flame you spread may yet consume more than you intend. Elias met his gaze, voice quiet but firm. Then let it burn. Better a galaxy lit with fire than one choked in fear. The session closed with thunderous murmurs. Already, some delegates arranged to sample Earth's cuisine discreetly. Humanity's food, once feared, had become legend, dishes whispered of as both ordeal and gift. As Elias left the chamber, exhausted but unbroken, he allowed himself a faint smile. Humanity had not just defended its cuisine. It had offered the galaxy a taste of what it meant to endure, to suffer, to thrive. And somewhere, deep in the Federation's heart, the first sparks of admiration for humanity's fire had begun to spread.